Hey everyone, it's your good friend Eric Thompson. This is the Ninja Selling Podcast. Thank you so much for listening and engaging. We appreciate it as always. And you guys, I'm really excited about today. We have another guest. We've been getting really good feedback from you about podcasts where we have guests, where you get to know other ninjas and get to hear things that they're doing to create their success so that you can emulate them. We have today another guest and her coach. So you are about to meet the two of them. Our first guest is Deanna Foreman. Say hi, Deanna.
Hi, how are you?
We are great, and we're so happy that you're here. Deanna, real quick, tell us the company you're with and the market that you serve.
I am with Coldwell Vanguard Realty in the Jacksonville, Florida market.
Terrific. And with us today is Deanna's coach. It is the one and only Jon Hill. Say hello, Jon.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me.
We are so welcome to have you here, Jon. Thank you so much. Jon, you and Deanna have been working together for how long?
Almost a year now. Yep. Here in June, we will be celebrating a year together.
Yeah. So happy almost coaching anniversary. So we are recording this in May 2025, and you all started working together last June. And I'm going to tell everyone right up front where we're headed. This is the theme of today. This is how to create more and actually work less. So you don't always have to work more hours. You don't always have to grind it out more and put in lots more effort to create even more. You can actually do it by working less. You can be more efficient, more on purpose. And we're going to learn all about that from Deanna. So Deanna, I'm going to brag on you first to start off just a little bit so people know what you have been creating and we can have some numbers behind this. You just had your biggest first quarter ever. Congratulations.
I did. Thank you very much. I did.
It's fantastic. So you had 17 closings in the first quarter of 2025. We're all giving you a virtual high five as we speak. And then also, you are on pace to have your biggest second quarter ever. I think Jon and Deanna, you told me that would be another 12 closings. Is that
At
right?
the moment, but it's looking like it's going to be more than that.
Could be even more.
Yeah.
Dare I say, not too shabby, not too shabby. And so, guys, here's the deal. Deanna has done this first quarter and then into the second quarter, working even less. So even bigger results, working even less. We're going to get into. So how do you do that? That will be the big takeaways from today. Jon, I want to start with you with a question, and you were just sharing with me about how this started. The two of you working together, and so you met last June at an installation. And so what is it that Deanna said to you, shared with you? Because I think that's really indicative of her mindset, and I think a mindset that a lot of people could adopt. And as we think about every person's potential, so what did she say to you when you first met her last year?
Yeah, it's a really cool story. So I was at the installation in Fort Collins, and Deanna made a comment to me, and it honestly came straight up to me and said, "This is my fifth installation. I have increased my business every year since. I want an accountability partner. You are that next level. I'm gonna take my business to the next level, and that's what you're supposed to be as a coach." And initially, I was kind of intimidated of like, wow, okay, like that's very direct. And we absolutely did, right? Having the biggest Q1, and that is a huge reflection of Deanna's effort and focus. But I think the way that we did it dramatically changed pretty quickly after our first call of recognizing where our opportunities were versus where she thought they were.
Yeah. The biggest thing coming up from you, Jon, in that story is that Deanna, you said to Jon, I want to take my business to the next level. It was a clear decision on what you wanted to do. Deanna, you just last month or even more recent than that, the last couple of weeks, completed your sixth installation. And then you also recently attended Ninja Now. Tell us, why do you keep going to the installation? I would bet some people would be curious about that. And they may say, well, geez, you just need to take it once and you learn it. Why would you go back 5 more times for 6? So tell us about that.
Well, it's just like Larry says. He mentions in the installation, and it makes me laugh every time. That's like saying, yeah, I went to a Ninja installation once, and he's like, yeah, and I took a shower once.
Right.
For me, it's actually a few different reasons. So first and foremost, especially with day one of the installation being focused on mindset, it's a complete reset. Because as you're going through, even when you're following the ninja path and you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing in order to, stay moving in the direction you want to move, it's sometimes it's easy just because of life and things that happen with your business to just, you can get off the mindset where you want to be and need to be to improve yourself. And so it's just like it's a mind reset, really. And then I also feel like the more you hear things, the more ingrained it becomes. And so I don't feel like you can hear things too many times. And also, because you are at different places in your life and in your business, every time you attend, at least in my experience, is that you're getting different things from it. Because depending on where you are in your business and in your life, you're going to take different things from it. And there's so much that you go through in the 4 days. There's no way you could possibly implement every single thing you want to do that you write down, on your grain sheet in 1 year. Like there's so much. And plus, like I said, you just get different things from it every time you go.
Yeah, different things each time you go, different ahas, different things hit you different ways. You're maybe finally prepared to hear that one message, and the mindset component is always helpful to hear. That makes total sense. Deanna, tell us your version of the story a year ago when you met Jon, and there you were making a decision that you wanted to level up your business. What was going on for you then? What was going through your mind? Maybe what was happening in your business? What caused you to say, you know what, I want to level up. I want to take this to a new place.
At the time, it was, I was wanting to increase my production. I mean, I'm a top producer in my market, but it's just, for me, it's not about comparing myself to everyone else. It's me. I'm my own biggest competitor, and I'm just constantly striving for whatever I feel is next. And I just felt like I was at the point where I needed someone that was going to be dedicated to me and making, and helping me grow. And so I knew that coaching had to be it.
Got it. Got it. And you just made that very clear decision, and you also had an investment mindset. We'll talk about flow in a minute, and I'm guessing you take that same mindset with your flow. Everything you do, you have an investment mindset, and you expect a return on that investment. So it's interesting when you both were telling me about how coaching started and what was on your mind primarily, Deanna, but then what it turned into quickly. Maybe Jon, I'll have you share that first. So Deanna came to you saying that there's certain things I want, but then you quickly figured out there was probably a more important topic item to cover first. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So on the complimentary call, right, we do kind of a dissection of the business. And to be forward, Deanna was running a very effective like Ninja 9 process. There wasn't anything to stand out in that way. And I asked the question, I said to the effect of like, when's the last time you had some time off or took a day? I mean, it was a very uncomfortable silence, the amount of time it took her to process it. And I said, hey, I think to make sure you can actually go to the next level, what we need to do is, go slower to go faster, right? We need to fill your cup. Deanna kind of breezed over this, but the reason that she wants to be so productive is her goal is to serve people, right? The finances are great, but at the end of the day, she wants to help more people. And I said, in order to do that, right? Like on an airplane, you've got to put your own mask on first before you assist others. And so we talked about taking, I mean, truly, she was working 7 days a week, 24/7. She can tell you about what her daughter's comment was about, of how frequently she was working. And I just said, hey, what if we just took Sunday off? And it made her incredibly uncomfortable, this idea that she could step away from her business, her clients would be okay, something wouldn't just go slipping through the cracks or come crashing down on her business. And that's really where we started.
Got it. So Deanna, share what your daughter said to you about how much you were working.
She would say to me, obviously prior to this, she doesn't say it to me anymore, but she would say, Mama, you work 25/8. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm just focused on helping people, and there's a lot of people that need help, and I want to do that. But after obviously talking with Jon and coaching with Jon, I've come to terms with the fact that I have to fill my own cup and do what I need to do for me too, because obviously my family needs to have time with me too, not just everybody else.
Yeah. You know what? Let's unpack this a little bit more, because what I know is that there are so many people in the Ninja Nation who are resonating with this, who are connecting with this, who really need to hear this, who they themselves are working 25/8. I love that, by the way. I've never heard that expression, but it's my new favorite expression, working 25/8. So, Deanna, can you describe kind of before and after? What was it like before when you were working 25/8, and then what is it like now, and what have you been able to do that is now filling your cup, that's now allowing you to put your own mask on first?
Well, I mean, we did take baby steps, which was good. Implemented business hours, but the first thing is taking Sundays off, which now I think I think it was last month, I finally told Jon, I said, okay, I've realized this past week, I need my Sundays off. Like, I need it. And I've, it's been a game changer for me to take even just one day a week off. But I've actually been able to do even more than that. But even just that one day, it allows you to get through everything else that you're going through. If you know, like, okay, I have my day off. I can't wait for my day off. So I'm going to, work really hard until then. But I've also been able to implement business hours, actually, which has been very helpful too.
Yeah. So you said baby steps, and I think that's a great takeaway for everyone. If you want to work toward this, do baby steps. So did it start with maybe part of Sunday off, and then it was all of Sunday, or did it start with all of Sunday?
It started with all of Sunday. Actually, I think we said appointments by appointment only. No, or did we?
Yeah, it was appointment. It was appointment only. So we were not going to open our laptop. We weren't going to answer calls unless we had a scheduled appointment prior to the weekend. And we started the first thing we really did, Eric, was we started setting expectations at our buyer and seller consultations and explaining to people, hey, in order for me to best serve you, I want to make sure that I fill my cup. I spend time with my family. And Deanna was terrified, as though she was going to lose business over this idea that she wasn't available, 25/8. And her clients looked at her and like, of course, you should have a day off. Like, I love that. What do you have planned for this weekend? And so they really advocated for her. And we use the example of like, would your lawyer, would your doctor answer on a Sunday? And started treating herself like a true, trusted advisor of someone who is a highly skilled professional. And when that happened, and she heard her clients start to advocate for her and want her to take those times, it got a lot easier. But that initial setting expectations was a painful time in some coaching calls there.
One of the things that we did too, that as you were talking, it just reminded me, is just something as simple as adding to my voicemail. If you're calling after 7 p.m., I will return your call tomorrow before 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So that was setting that expectation as well.
So, Deanna, what are your business hours?
Now they are between 8:30 and 9 to 6.
Okay.
Monday through Friday. And I work by appointment only on Saturday, and I do not work on Sundays.
Okay. So now your appointment only on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
not at all on Sundays. And so let's talk a little bit more about how you communicate that to a client, especially a new client who may not know about this. Is there something in writing that you show them, or do you just tell them? Yeah, you just tell them. Okay.
Well, thankfully, the majority of, like, I'd say 99.5% of my business is referral. So I work with people I know and friends and family of people I know.
Got it.
So that helps because I already have a relationship there. But even if I don't, like, even if I get a sign call and I go on a listing consultation, I just tell them.
You just tell them. Yeah, just matter of fact, and I'm guessing no pushback. Professionals have office hours. You're a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Also coming up for me, it's somewhat of a test. Someone that would push back on that might cause you to question if that's someone you want to work with in the first place. Yeah. So bravo to you. So I think a takeaway for everyone: set office hours. Mm-hmm. Set office hours. Baby steps. work there a little bit at a time, and you're going to be okay. Yes, it will be really scary initially, but you're going to be fine. We promise. You can do it.
One thing that I see common in coaching, and Deanna kind of talked about this, is when we bring up office hours, people will instantly go to the extremes of, well, what if someone works the exact same office hours? And that's why appointment only. Deanna initially had two nights a week where she was available. I believe it was like Tuesday and maybe Thursday, Deanna, where you said, hey, I'm available beyond these business hours if we need to go to a showing, but she still controlled, the expectation and the narrative of not 24/7 available any and all times, because I hear that a lot in initial coaching around business hours is like, well, this client can only meet there, and that's fine, but you have more control of that process than you give yourself credit. And you can schedule a standing appointment where that only one night a week maybe you're working outside your business hours, or only every other Saturday or something to that. So you have much more control when you are that true trusted advisor and that skilled professional. Having that conversation, and like you alluded to, Eric, if they start pushing back on that, that could be an early warning sign of they may not be the client for you.
Yes. Yeah. Let it be a test. Let it be a test.
Right.
Okay, Deanna, there are people right now listening saying, okay, this is great. I love the idea. I'm on board with that. But still, how do you get even more production working less? Like how does that work? How can that be? How has that happened for you? How have you been able to create even more by working less?
I'm much more intentional during the time that I am working. It's more intentional. And there was actually one of the Monday Ninja emails
Action tips.
came out. Yeah, the
Yeah.
action tips. I couldn't think of the name of it. That came out, and I remember it. And John and I just talked about it the other day. It was the one where they were talking about the most commonly unused app that agents forget about is their timer. And if you make it to where you only have a certain amount of time to do something, and you're up against the clock, and you're gonna get it done.
Yeah.
So it using that has been very helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I know it sounds so simple, but it makes you focus and keep things going.
Absolutely.
And you're always racing the clock, so it's almost like a game.
Yeah. You're compressing the time.
Mm-hmm.
When you compress the time, it creates more urgency, it creates more purpose, it creates more focus.
Right.
It's liberating too. Now, then you have all this time. You have all day Sunday. You have lots of Saturday because you're appointment only.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things too, Eric, that Deanna does an amazing job of, and I'd love for you to tell about it. Is it the first Monday of the month?
Yes.
Or is it? Yeah. Tell everyone about that. Yeah.
So on the last Monday of the month, I call it my monthly admin day, and I don't book any appointments and come into the office. I print out all the birthdays, all the purchase anniversaries, the wedding anniversaries, my real estate reviews for the month, all of that, get it all prepared for the next month so that everything is already ready. And all I have to do is, put the cards in the mail or schedule an appointment to go do a real estate review because I've already prepared for it on that last Monday of the month for the following month.
Perfect. That's fantastic. What a great strategy.
Mm-hmm. It works well.
I can hear the light bulbs going off around the Ninja Nation right now as they hear that. Okay, we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about red flags.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned before someone pushing back on your office hours, that would be a red flag. But Deanna, for you, there's another red flag that has become important for you, something that you watch for, something that you're tuned into. It's a place where you've kind of learned the hard way. So tell us about that.
So that red flag is whenever I am meeting with mainly a seller is where I usually encounter it, but even with buyers too, is when they're asking for a discount.
Yeah.
From whatever your fee is.
Yeah.
And I have learned, I will say the hard way. I mean, John knows all the details, but I've learned the hard way that if someone is asking for a discount, they don't recognize the true value you bring to the table. And it's indicative of issues arising down the pipe.
Yeah, it's indicative of kind of the person that they are. And hey, what we all know where this starts is doing a very good job of clarifying, articulating your value and walking someone through all the things you're going to do for them, walking them through the 5 points of value that you're taught in the ninja installation. So it starts there. And Deanna, you're an incredible ninja. I know you do an incredible job of that. And so there you are. You've done an incredible job of that. And yet they're still pushing back. And that's when you're now saying, "Whoa, time out. This is a red flag. This person might not be for me."
And when you say no, you're not gonna give a discount. The fee is what the fee is because of the level of service that I provide and all that I do for that. They usually don't say anything. They're like, okay. They just ask to ask because they just want to try and save money. But I haven't had any pushback on it.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
And so the times where maybe you have offered the discount, or you have let's say compromised
Mhm.
on that. What you told me before is that the transaction didn't go well.
Exactly. And the couple of times and examples that I have, well, they were both rough, but the most recent one, the person didn't even ask for a discount, but given their story, it just pulled on my heartstrings so bad. And I offered it and it came back to bite me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did. And it was a tough transaction and I couldn't wait till it was finished,
Yeah.
and it was not a good experience. It was not fun at all.
Yeah. And hey, we've been there, right? Everyone's been there. You're in front of that client that, let's pretend it's a seller. They're in a tough situation, whatever that situation is. And we're all, we all have big hearts, and we want to do something for them, offer them something. So oftentimes we'll offer the discount without even being asked. And then often that can not go well. And the other way to view that is, you know what, given their situation, their circumstance, I'm going to offer even better service. I'm going to take even better care of them
Right.
rather than a discount, because that also, there's something about being consistent in what you offer and what your fee is. So
Right.
yeah,
True.
I think that's a takeaway.
The lesson too, Eric, and Deanna will attest to this. One of the things that I think people need to understand is she's incredibly coachable once we get there. It takes time, it takes some lessons, especially because she has a servant heart. She wants to take care of her people. But the example we gave is if you were hiring a lawyer and things went a little bit sideways and they instantly defaulted to giving a discount, would you think you had the right lawyer in front of you? That they didn't, like, how are you going to ask someone for a certain fee if you yourself don't believe in your own value and can't articulate your own value? And after that, Deanna looked at me and kind of waved her finger and said, tell all your clients no discounts. Because like, let me be the example so no one has to go through this again.
Right.
I did say that.
Yeah. Well, good. That's a great lesson for all of us. Okay, let's finish with this, and I think this will be something else relevant to everyone, and something that people can take away from this podcast. Jon, you were telling me that Deanna is a 100% implementer. Tell us about that. How does that show up for her? What does that mean? And then we'll turn that into what could that mean for everyone listening. So.
Yeah, I think the idea sometimes of coaching sometimes is going to be this quick fix, this idea that I'm going to hire a coach and instantly my business is going to get better. And there's value in it. But, we can help with mindset, we can help with skill set. You have to take action around the things that we're doing. And Deanna made that commitment early to the point at times sacrificing some other things that were important, of like we talk about the weekly meeting agenda. She does not miss the weekly meeting agenda, even if it came at the expense of personal time or stuff. She always gets it in. We talked about business hours, and she looks at me and says, I'm going to do it. I'm uncomfortable. This is painful. I don't love it. I will commit to doing it, then to the no discounts. So she is someone that once we agree on a call, I have zero doubt that when we get on our next call, whether it was uncomfortable, whether it was extremely successful or not, she will go out there and try. She will take what we talk about and put it into action. And that is a big part of the reason that we have been able to have the success level, is because of her commitment and her coachability. I don't coach it 100% always right, but she's willing to implement in a major, major way, to a point where, again, We haven't missed that weekly meeting agenda. We have business hours, and we're having the best Q1 and on pace to have the best Q2 we've ever had.
Yeah. Awesome. Deanna, what comes up for you when you hear Jon say that?
I agree. I am an implementer. And I think that is honestly a testament to the coaching too, because you have that accountability there. And there's nothing worse than agreeing to do something and saying you're going to do something and then have to come back and say, I didn't do it. Like that. So, I mean, it's just, that's what keeps me going. Even if I'm doing it, we have our coaching call on Thursdays. And even if I'm doing it on a Wednesday, then before we meet on Thursday, I have to get it done because I don't want to walk in and say, okay, sorry, Jon, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. Because that makes me feel bad.
Right. That's great. I love that. Coming up for me is Deanna, you're someone who, even though it might be uncomfortable, you do it anyway.
Mhm.
It's uncomfortable, but you're going to do it anyway.
I recognize that all growth happens outside of your comfort zone.
Yes, always.
So that you have to remember that.
Yes. I think that's a good place to finish. All growth happens outside your comfort zone, and you were willing to get uncomfortable to get control of your schedule.
Yes.
You started this working 25/8, and now you're working much less than 25/8 and getting these amazing results. Today has been amazing, Deanna. Thank you so much for sharing, for all the takeaways, for being such a actively involved member of the Ninja Nation. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you for asking me to be on. I appreciate that. And it's been wonderful.
Absolutely. And Jon, thank you for not only being here, but also encouraging us to have Deanna as a guest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity. Deanna's amazing, and I think her story will really resonate with a lot of people.
Absolutely. I'm convinced of that too. Okay. Thank you, Jon. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you, everyone, for engaging and for listening. We so appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Take care.